Today we're going to see a very exciting game, a very interesting attacking game where I'm sure you'll see some familiar motifs, but also some motifs that maybe you're not so familiar with. And also, like I said, behind the scenes, there are some exciting moves because the player who won a brilliancy still didn't play the absolute best moves. Maybe we can improve a little bit. And then we are going to have for dessert a little combination that's one of my favorites, and we'll see how you'll do with that. So without further ado, we're going to go with the game. The game is played by two players that I must say that I've never heard before. Okay, probably they are masters, I think Austrian masters or something like that. So e4, that's familiar to us all, e5, and now he plays the move knight c3. How many of you have played this or faced it with white or black? Some of you? Okay. So, knight f6. And who could tell me, of those of you who play it, probably it's going to be easier. If you haven't played it before, it might be harder. What is one of the main moves here? Of course, it's not too late for white to change his mind. Play knight f3, just like in the spirit of the four knights. Maybe black will answer with knight c6. We'll have a four knights game, that's normal. I can play the very exciting move bishop to c4, which is actually allowing a center fork trick, but we will talk about it in 1 second. But who could tell me what is the main move here? What is the principal move of the Vienna defense? Knight c3, knight f6 is known as the Vienna. And who could tell me what is the principal move of the Vienna? Any ideas? You're allowed to raise your hand and guess. I haven't heard anybody that guessed wrong yet in my life, so yes. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm crazy about leaving my bishop in already without making some sort of a commitment. Yes? D4. Say again? D4. I think that d4 here doesn't make so sense because after pawn takes, queen takes, knight c6, I'm immediately attacking the queen, right? And otherwise you can't play the usual gambits. Well, the move is f4. The move played in the game is f4, and that's the main excitement of the Vienna. By the way, I want to discuss this variation. I wasn't really planning on it, but I think that it's a good idea to talk a little bit about this variation. This is a kind of a variation that could be exciting. I'm just going to mention it for a moment because it's really good to know. And the idea is that, of course, black plays the move knight e4. That's the main move. If you don't play this move, then it's just going to be some sort of an Italian game. If you play knight c6, I can play knight f3, but I also have the options of always playing f4, and my bishop is already on a very aggressive diagonal. So usually black wants to play the move knight takes e4. Now some of you might say, what? The knight is protecting the square? But this is known as the center fork trick. If white now takes here, which is a very bad move, then after d5, I'm regaining the piece, and at best you can get your pawn back, but I'm going to be the one who's happier. I'm going to have either a pawn in the center here or a pawn in the center here. Much easier development. This bishop is buried in. And of course, this is great from black's point of view. Let's say you play something like, I don't know, bishop here, I take, bishop d6. Of course, I'd rather be black than white in this position. There's no question about it. I'm going to play f5 and kick that bishop. I can castle early. And white is still behind development. It's like white is playing black and black is playing white. Not a very wise idea. So you might say, wait a minute, didn't you recommend bishop c4 as an option? The answer is yes, but the follow-up is, anybody wants to think, why is white giving the pawn? What move or idea might he have in mind? Yes? Almost. Same kind of idea of aggression. Oops, I did not play that move yet. Queen h5. A very good aggressive move. That's the idea of this gambit. Now, the threat of mate and the threat on the knight force black to play the next move. Because if he doesn't play the next move, something very bad is going to happen. If you try to, first of all, I'm attacking the pawn, so you can play g6. Queen takes pawn here is going to win the world. If you play queen e7, then I can take your knight and there's no d5 because nobody's protecting d5. So the only move, who could tell me the only defensive move in this position? If you don't play this move, you're going to lose as black. So for better or for worse, you have only one defensive move. Use your imagination. Your knight is being hit and you're about to get mated. That's not fun. I'm seeing only the same two hands, and I bet that I can see more. I don't mind if you don't know. It's okay not to know, but I want you to try to concentrate. The question is very easy. Think about it. This is more, it's not even a chess question, it's a logic question. I'm threatening checkmate. I am also threatening your knight. No.
I know the question.
You know the question?
No,
You already don't know the question? Or get out.
I don't know the question.
Okay. So let's hear from, yes.
Queen to G5.
Queen G5 is not very recommended. Think about it.
I'll just make
I'm going to go queen takes f7, and my knight is attacking you here, and painful, right? Yeah. How do we save the knight and stop the mate? Come on, this is such an easy question.
Oh,
It's the second door on the right.
I never knew the next one was here.
Okay. Okay, let's hear from you, yes.
me.
Yellow shirt.
Knight D6.
Yeah, you have to play knight d6. The knight is saving itself, preventing the mate and attacking the bishop. And in this position, it's kind of known that if the queen rushes to take this pawn, the bishop goes to e7. Yeah, sure, white regained this pawn, but at the same token, black is developing quickly, is going to castle, and for now, the white king and queen are kind of lined up on the same diagonal. So normally, white plays the move bishop to b3, and now he wants to play the move that often happens, knight to b5, to distract this knight and try to somehow mate. Okay, this is not a topic for today. I just mentioned it as a sideline, as a side option. Excuse me. As a sideline for our game. So, in our game, as we said, f4 was played, and we didn't know about that. Now we learned that that move is possible. This is a super aggressive move, kind of in the spirit of the King's Gambit, but notice that the addition of the knights being out is maybe limiting black's choices a little bit. It's not so easy to play e takes f4, for example, because then the question is the knight really great here? Because there's an e5 ideas and d4, and the center is very good. So what do you think is a good idea for black here? Again, especially since no one really knows this opening, so you have to rely on your intuition. What would be a good move when there is like, I can give a little hint. It often happens when somebody attacks you from the flank. What do you like to do when somebody attacks you from the side? What is almost always a good response or a normal response? Yes?
Defend from the side.
Even better than that. Even better, because if you just defend and your opponent has more space or forces, then it's going to be a very,
Oh, then you're going to get over.
yeah. Yes, Ali?
Counterattack?
Counterattack, how?
D5.
That's right. Counterattack in the center. So this is a very good, exciting move. Black wants to, again, open up his game, attack the center, open up his bishops. And, okay, the normal move for white, of course, is to take on e5, which is not protected. And the knight is now under attack. The pawn on d5 is under attack. Black responds with a very logical knight takes e4. Very nice. So both sides have achieved something. The knight is very active on e4, very annoying from white's point of view. And this pawn is very beautiful for white, takes away some important squares. You will see later that it can play a great part. Now, there are several main lines that are known. Again, notice that this game is not exactly a new game, only 115 years old. But still, it's very exciting because of what happened in it. Now, we know that there's a move d3. Crazy line. Pawn goes to d3, and in the case of queen h4 check, g3, the knight can take that pawn, and of course you cannot take back, and there's lots of threats. So knight to f3. This is a crazy, crazy variation. Queen h5, rook g1, all kinds of stuff. Okay, again, not a topic for today, but just so you know that it exists. In our game, white decided to play something a lot more normal. He decided to play knight to f3. He doesn't like to deal with all those annoying checks, and he prefers that to happen. Not to happen. So he plays knight to f3, stopping the checks, developing the knight. But of course, the knight here is in no rush. So that means that black's next move, which was knight takes c3, may have been a little too early. What is the rush to take? You weren't attacked. Why are you crying before you're hurt, right? So other moves that would have been normal, one is to play bishop g4, develop the bishop. The other one is to develop this bishop so you can castle quickly. I think when I put it in the computer, they suggested the move bishop c5, which is kind of interesting. Maybe he wants to get white to play d4 so he can pin the knight here on c3. Okay, I didn't think that that was so amazing, but who can argue with Komodo? So, black played, like I said, knight takes c3. Now, how should we take back? B pawn or D pawn, and why? I want to hear both arguments, and then I'm going to show you what was played. Adi,
B pawn.
with the B pawn. Explain the logic.
Because usually you want to capture towards the center, and also in this position, you may be able to put your bishop on B2 or even D4 to try to keep that pawn on E5.
Okay, very good. Anybody thinks otherwise? Anybody disagrees? Everybody want to take with the D pawn? Yeah, this is a very big dilemma, and it's normally, in almost every opening, we want to take towards the center. In E4, E5 openings, you'll notice that most of the time, like in the exchange Roy Lopez, and in like many four knights variations, somehow the D pawn ends up taking. Because it opens up the queen and opens up the bishop on C1. So it seems like both are possible, but in our game, indeed, Adi is right. He took towards the center for exactly the reasons he mentioned. He wants to use the rook on the B file, very important, and he wants to play the move D4, gaining space in the center, also very, very important. Okay, excellent. So now Black played the move bishop E7. Okay, another move that I think is very nice is to play C5 and quickly knight C6, because you immediately put pressure in the center, and sometimes you have a chance to play the move queen A5 early, before white already developed and castled, and create some pressure. So I think that if I was black in this position, which I hope I wouldn't because I would never have taken on C3 so early, but still I would have played the move C5, and with the intention of knight C6, queen A5, leave that bishop here, just one more move. So bishop E7, pawn D4, again I'm voting for C5, black castled, bishop to D3. All this is very good and logical. I think it makes sense. White develops in a very attacking stance. Black realizes that sooner or later he has to castle kingside, so he does. Now comes the move bishop to G4. Okay, not a mistake by itself, but again, the main plan has to be playing C5. That would be a lot more urgent. Get your counterplay and get it now. See what white is going to do. Is white going to take on C5 and break his pawn structure forever and weaken this diagonal forever, not going to be easy for white to castle? Or is he going to allow black to take and then maybe go queen A5 check? Is he going to allow maybe C4, kicking the bishop from this very important diagonal? That's a lot more challenging. So in the game, he went bishop G4. And who could tell me, why am I not crazy about this move? It's not a blunder. It's not like, oh my God, here is the punishment. No. But there is an immediate reason where I'm not really caring for this move so much. And it's a positional reason. Let's see if somebody can tell me. Yes? That's right. Immediately the pawn on B7 needs babysitting. And if I was about to play rook B1 anyways, now I'm playing it with a big gain of tempo. Why allow the tempo? No, not urgent. Could have played, like I said, C5, knight C6, and then if you ever play rook B1, then one would ask, is rook B1 really the best timing for that? Shouldn't you play for it later, because now black is causing some trouble on the queen side and center? So after here, indeed, rook to B1. Maybe black should have just pitched that pawn on B7, just played C5, would have been interesting. But who can blame him for not wanting to sack a pawn when he's not even that up in development? Adi, do you want to add something?
B6.
Yeah, he played the move B6. He decided not to give up this pawn, and he defends it with B6. Okay, so white plays castles. Again, a move that doesn't need that many explanations. And black played the move C5. The commentator said that the move F6 was very interesting. Because of the situation, tried to hit to the center, tried to provoke one of two things. Either to force white to take, and then the bishop takes, or to try to take yourself on E5 and maybe isolate this pawn and open the F file later on for some action. But I still think that white is better in that position after F6. So, C5. Now what to do? What move or moves do you have in mind? I think that white played the most concrete move in this position. I think he played the most accurate. Take a moment, look at the position, pretend that you're white. There are several moves that make sense here, and I can't say that they are blunders. But I think that right here, right now, before black starts exercising his many other options, it's time to do something. Let's see if you guys are with me on that. Take a moment, look at the position, think, what should white do? Okay, let's pretend it's your own game and you have to make a move. What would you make here? What move would you play? I don't think anybody's thinking a move like, let's say, rook b2, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? Everybody's laughing, of course. So let's try to think of moves that make sense. Yes? Bishop e3 seems like a reasonable move, developing the last undeveloped minor piece and making sure that it has an extra eye in the center. Okay, reasonable. Anybody else? Yes? Bishop a3, interesting. You want to kind of check the other diagonal out. And my only problem with that is that maybe at the right time, there's going to be like a c4 move, and black isn't going to be sad about trading pieces and sending that bishop out, keeping the white double pawns intact. So, well, let me play the move. h3. Immediately asking the bishop the question before c4 might be coming, and white would have to declare where he wants his bishop to be. Probably he has to go back to e2. We ask the bishop, dude, what are you going to do? Are you, A, giving yourself up for the knight, giving me a lot of light squares, making me really happy about that, and a pair of bishops? Are you going to try to maintain the pin? Or are you going to just quietly withdraw back on that diagonal you came from? Now, what would you do if you're black? You have three decisions, right? Like I said, trade, retreat from where you came from, or maintain the pin. Which one of the three would you want to choose? I want everybody to participate. At the end of these questions, I want everybody to have a vote of what they want to do. So we'll take a vote right now. How many of you want to trade the bishop for the knight? 0 votes. How many of you want to go back, let's say bishop to e6? 1 person. How many of you want to play the move bishop to h5, maintain the pin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, let's see what black did. Bishop h5. Now everybody's good and happy, right?
Right.
Okay, now what should we do with white? Continue our plan. What do you think we should do? You're white in this position. What move or moves should be your candidate moves? If you want to suggest bishop e3 or bishop f4, okay, we already said that. Bishop coming to the center, helping out a little bit like before. Let's hear from you. g4. So you want to kick up the bishop, you want to break that pin once and for all, right? And you want to maybe after bishop g6, maybe you want to trade. Okay, that's one plan. What else? What other ideas might we have in mind? Yes? Queen e1, yes, okay, you want to break the pin once and for all, and you want to do queen e1 g3 maybe, bring the queen to an active spot, or maybe queen d2 to f4. That was your idea, I'm assuming? Yeah, very reasonable. Very reasonable. Well, the reason why I'm asking it in that kind of sneaky way is because I'm trying to check your alert level, your danger level. That's why before I made no comment on the move bishop h5, and now I didn't say white to move and win, or white to move, he has an exciting possibility. I just kept on going with the game as if it's just a regular game, and just to see if one of you has like a red light or anything blinking, saying, wow, I'm sensing that there's something in this position, but you guys just went with me and nothing really happened. So I have to make a comment in this position. Bishop h5 is a blunder. It looks like a great move, and it's good that you guys, many of you suggested it, because, hey, it looks like a trivial move. It looks like the most logical move. You attack my bishop. I don't feel like giving it for the knight. I don't really want to move it backwards. I don't want to move it backwards. I want to maintain the pin. I love the pin. And when I'm looking at the position, it's like everything is super protected. Some of you might say, yeah, but what about this bishop sacrifice? And then knight check, and I might say, well, yeah, but there's a bishop here and there's a queen here, right? Usually when the bishop is not on e7, we sack the bishop and life is great. However, here things are different, but as much as they're different, they're also a little bit the same. And the problem is, white played, drum roll, bishop h7. Anyway, he sacrificed. And now black is really in trouble. Until now, he was doing relatively okay. If he would have even taken the knight or just retreated with the bishop, wouldn't be the end of the world. But as it is, bishop h5, bishop takes h7, wins the game for white. Well, I don't have to tell you that if you have to move your king and you have lost the pawn, such an important pawn on h7, and I'm going to have an extra pawn plus the attack, that's not going to be a great solution. However, taking the bishop is also not a great solution, because now you will notice that the attack plays itself. Even though there's a bishop on e7, white still continues in the normal, typical Greek sacrifice style. Knight to g5 check. And some of you might look and say, wait a minute, I see that on g5 we have one defender on c1. I also see that we have two attackers on e7 and d8. All that is true, but of course the queen is attacking the bishop on h5 to boot, which is a big bonus. Now, what should we do? Let's check all the possibilities. Let's pretend that I say, uh-oh, if I give this bishop, I'm going to get in real trouble. For example, if, let's say we go here, then bam, threatening mate. I'm pretty certain that all of you see that this is going to be very miserable for black. For example, if he goes rook e8, I'm going to go check, and yeah, looks a lot like mate. So after, excuse me, oopsie. After here, bishop takes, and let's say I move my queen away. Now my idea is, if you're going to go rook up, I want to play the move f5. So if we had this position, what do you think white had in mind? What move? But listen, I don't want to only hear the first move. I want to hear some sort of a plan. I want to hear some sort of an idea. It's like, I want to go here. If you do this, I'll do that. My threat is X, Y, Z. I'm pretty certain that if you took a strong master or grandmaster and you ask him, okay, what would you do here? I would say that within 3, 4, 5 seconds, there'll be an idea. Because A, they have seen it before. B, they could just sense that with all the black pieces doing nothing, you think these two guys are helping? Some are from the bleachers up top and the nosebleeds? Yeah, they're not helping. So, yes.
You can play rook f6.
Okay, maybe. I'm not doubting it. Probably rook f6 is a decent move. I don't think it can be taken because pawn takes, bishop takes, and queen h mate, h8 mate looks good. In the meantime, you're going to double rooks and maybe bring the rook to h. I'm sure it's also interesting. But he planned to play the very simple bishop f6 because between a bishop and a pawn, that's enough. And this is just the end of the world. I'm threatening queen g5 and mate here, or queen h6, mate in the dark squares. I'm threatening rook up. I'm threatening to take on g7. This is just a complete disaster. Okay, so that's out. Not a lovely variation, right? So what if we do something else? What if we play king up? Now I'm just saying, okay, I'm holding on to my bishop. You cannot take my bishop now. If queen takes bishop, it's a beautiful sacrifice, but there's no mate. I'm going to take with my king, g4, king g6, and that's the end of that. But in this position, we have a very simple solution. Come on, white to move, how do we mate? There is no way that I'm going to be happy to see just one hand up. Just use your imagination. The black king looks like a traveling clown. We have to punish it. I'm seeing the same 3 or 4 hands. Guys, don't be shy. Look at the position, have guts. Think to yourself, the king is in trouble. He has no legal moves. He can only go to h6, but when he goes to h6, he goes right into the discovery of the bishop, and my knight is going to go wild. Knight f7, so... So, the kid in the black shirt, yes.
Queen d3.
Queen d3 check, bam, disaster, end of the world. What to do? Where am I going to go? Say that I decide to go f5. Blocking the check, yay! Am I? Am I really blocking the check? How do you unblock the check easily? Somebody say it. Yeah? Yes. That doesn't look good. That does not look good, because king h6 is going to lead to the same thing. So if I go king here, what's the best move? I want the best move. I'm a greedy, greedy guy. I have so many hot moves here. Only one gets the nod. Only one gets the yes. All the others, no. Kid with the glasses.
Knight to f7 check.
Also good. Also good because it's double check and mate.
Right.
Okay, who can find another checkmate in one move?
Bishop F1.
Get out of class. Yes.
Queen h7 checkmate.
That also looks like checkmate. Everything looks like checkmate. You can already see that this is just such a disaster. Goodness. So, do you have another thing to add?
Yeah, I think knight f7 was made.
I mentioned it
Yeah.
while you were sleeping.
Well, no, but
I said double check and mate.
I have another one.
you have another mate? Better than me.
Queen h7.
Knight to t7.
F7 you mean. Knight takes where?
Right now,
Okay, after I go, let's say here, then what do you play? Well, I mean, knight takes here is mate and queen takes queen here is mate. You can go knight e6, which I'm pretty sure is not going to lose the game. However, it's not the best. We always look for the best. Okay, so forget about this variation. This is not fun either. So he decided to just take it. Well, the next move is easy. We took here, check. And now we already know from the previous example that if the king goes to g8, bishop takes g5, and then bishop f6 with an immediate disaster. So he's going to try to play here. Now he's protecting his extra piece, yay. But again, we look at the position, we see the king a little bit by himself. All the other black pieces are on the last rank, not helping. We already called, how do we call these two? Spectators somewhere in the nosebleeds, right, of the bleachers? Not helping. And we have lots of pieces aiming at the attack. The queen is maximum capacity. We have a bishop here participating, a rook here participating. All these are great. What moves do we have? Here, I think that the move that he played was not the best move, but of course it's good enough to win. So let's see if you can find what I think is the best move, but either move gets the point. So, but I'm only seeing one kid raising their hand as if this is the meaning of life kind of question. Come on. This is not that hard. Adi, tell me. That's what was played, and it was very good. It gets the point, like I said. Bishop takes h6. You'll see how it continued. But anybody else would like an exciting move? Yes, let our grandmaster say it.
Rook f6.
Yeah, rook f6 is definitely the best move. Rook f6 is just very, very annoying, because if pawn takes, we have queen takes bishop followed by pawn takes here. Not good. You can sack your queen, also doesn't help, because just the position collapses. Immediately collapses. So in the game he played here, and the reason is this doesn't get the best nod, because g6 is possible. He doesn't have to take back. Is he lost? Oh yeah, sure he's lost. He's dead lost. But again, we are looking for the absolute best, shortest way to victory, so we can not mess up anything. Anyways, he decided to just take back, after which I want to see the whole class raising their hand and telling me what did white play. Can the queen mate by itself? Answer, no. We need reserves. What do we have? How many of you think that white's plan here was king h2, g3, g4, f5, and etc.? How many of you vote for that? You? Out. So, use your imagination. What piece can he use, and where are we going to put it in the most impressive square? That is not a tough question. Like, for example, let's try this rook. What am I going to do with it? Where? Am I going to climb up this way? Am I going to move here? It's going to take me a year? No. I probably can do better than that rook that's not doing anything. So, come on, imagination. Yes?
Rook f7.
You could do that. I won't be surprised if this also wins, because black is so behind development that by the time after rook f7 you will trade, I'll check you, then my other rook will come into the game. I'm positive it's winning. But again, I'm a very tough customer. I insist on the shortest, fastest route. Yes?
Rook f6.
Rook f6. Once again, misery for black. Of course, in this position, if he would have taken the rook, he would have prolonged the fight a little bit, but he didn't want to do it. He just wanted to move away. After which, of course, white has a very easy mate in 3 moves. He did bam, bam, and bam. Closing the deal. And when you look at the 2 positions, the black king, say again?
Black has good development.
Yes, especially B8 and A8, they never moved. And when you look at the 2 kings, the black king is shouting help in every language known to man. The white king is sitting pretty on G1, never touched, never in danger. Just a beautiful attacking game by white. And amazing that sometimes it only takes one little mistake. In this position, he was not doing so badly. It's only this move that all of a sudden brought something that you should be familiar with.
Who was
When,
playing the game? I can't see.
it's Rufus versus Doofus.
Yeah.
So in this position, as you can see, black is doing okay, but one little mistake. And again, I on purpose went over this game. I didn't say anything about bishop h5. And then I said, okay, what should white play here? And you guys suggested all kinds of bishop moves, or because again, it looks like an innocent position, but with very hidden possibility that when we exercise it, ended in a disaster. Great. Now, we're gonna have one more time before you get some free play. One more position. Okay. This is one of the, Alexander Alekhine, or Alekhine as he's sometimes called, one of his best combinations. If you have seen it before, which you might have, because this appears, I'm sure, in books, in magazines, maybe in exercises. I mean, I've seen it in more than one source, but I think it's one of the most beautiful combinations that I've seen. I don't know if it was played blindfold or not. It might have been played blindfold. If you raise your hand so soon, that means you've seen it. So hands down, please. Let's be fair about it. I want everybody to have a fair shot at it, people that haven't seen it to look at it. And we can see that white has a beautiful attack. And this is a white to move and win exercise. Okay, of course he's down a piece, but the black king looks a little unhappy. The white king is just vacationing. The black king is just about to die. There's like 2 rooks on the file. But we can already see that if we go check, king f7, maybe it's not the prettiest king in the world, and after g6, maybe the king is going to keep running, but there's no mate. That's not happy. That is definitely not a happy idea. So we have to use our imagination. How do we get checkmate? Now, of course, everybody says g6, g6, go g6, because you close the mating net. But what if my queen will just take it?
Yeah.
And then you say, yeah, queen c4 check, queen c4 check, close the gate. Yeah, but what if I go d5? And then everybody's like, ah. So, in other words, we have to think a little bit about this position. How do we get it right? We already understand the ideas. We have a queen c4 check sometimes. We have a g6 sometimes. Both moves are going to lock the mate net on the king. The king is going to be trapped in the box. Going to be very hard to stop mate. But we need to do it smartly. If we do it in a silly way, then there's always going to be an escape square. So there's only one way to do it properly. I just said, if you guys know it, don't raise your hand. Let people that haven't seen it try to solve it. Only if everybody gives up are we going to solve it. I'm going to let you solve it. So we're looking at this position. We understand everything is about the checkmate. Everything is about the weakness of the black king. But how do we do it right? Just because we know the idea doesn't mean that we're going to win the game. We have to make it properly. If we don't do it the right way, we're going to end up with nothing. So I want everybody to think. Use your imagination. It takes a lot of imagination here. A lot of guts and imagination to do it properly. How do we do it in the absolute proper way? Adi, you try.
Queen takes g7.
Wow, queen takes g7. King takes.
Rook h7.
Okay, so let's say I go king to a g8. So we have check, and I took, you checked me, and my king went back. If you check me again, I'm going to go la and la, zigzag away, run, right? So again, good try, but somehow my king is escaping. My king is a very mischievous guy, huh? Yes.
Queen to c4.
Very good try. Let's try that out. Queen to c4. And what if I go, wait a minute. What if I go, wow. I don't know if I can take, I'm afraid to take it, but maybe I can take it. Let's try it. I'll take it. Then you're going to go g6, right?
G6.
Are you ready now to give me checkmate? If it's your move, you'll checkmate me, right?
Right.
So I have to do something about it.
Take your queen.
You have to, otherwise I'll take your rook for free. And then I'm going to play bishop here. Oopsie, the pawn that wants to give checkmate is about to go bye-bye. Very annoying, right? I know, I know. So again, now we understand all those ideas G6 can do. Queen e c4 can do. So what are we going to do? Let's try, oopsie. Let's try G6. Queen takes, let's try check. And now, D5. Annoying. Where did that D5 come from? So what about knight E5? You take my queen, I'm going to take your queen. And then, oopsie, I can sack my queen from one of your rooks, because when you take, I'll take your queen. No go. So annoying, right? Very difficult. But what if I go G6 one more time, and then after queen takes, we're going to go knight E5 now. Now the idea is, if you take on E5, I'm going to go queen C4 check. And when you block the check on F7, rook H8 is, yeah. Unfortunately, bam, bam. No mate, and black is still fighting. Remember, he started this a piece up. So if I give up a queen for a rook and a piece, I'm not doing too badly. This is becoming really, really annoying. We tried G6, failed. Queen C4, failed. Maybe something else. Tell us, save us.
Rook H8 check.
King F7.
Queen X to G7.
Okay, king takes.
Rook H7 checkmate.
King G6.
Oh.
Not yet. Also after rook check, king here. Yeah, I have to go, I have to take it. Yeah. But no mate. All right, one last chance, yes.
Actually we did this before, but I saw something.
Do it, tell me.
So, queen to C4.
Okay, so we go queen to C4, I take it.
Then pawn to G6.
Pawn to G6, I have to sack my queen back. You must take it, only legal move. Well, other knight E1, yeah. If you go knight E1, I'll just take your rook, because I'm already up a queen. Now you want to play this move as black, because you want to take that pawn. And if you go knight H4, rook F6, that pawn goes bye-bye, and there's no mate. Very, very annoying. Of course, black is doing super well, right? Yeah. Well, let me show you the solution. Oh, one more person? Yeah. Tell me.
Put the knight to E5.
Yay, we have a solution. Knight E5. This is exactly what Alekhine played. Beautiful little move. Well, he wants to play rook H8 mate. Do something about it, dude.
I take with the pawn.
You have to. If you don't take with a pawn, your other option is to take with a queen. Then, of course, after I trade queens and I go G6, how are you stopping rook H8 mate?
You can't.
You cannot, sorry. Okay, so he takes with a pawn. Okay, we lost the knight. What? Not now.
Take the queen to the pawn.
Even better than that. Maybe you can take the pawn, but if you take with the pawn, maybe I can go queen to G6. Preventing G6.
You can also take the queen and play queen F4 and queen H6.
That's right. That's right. If queen takes E5, I take. When you go G6, I have a little check here, and then I can just block with my queen. I don't care if I lose my queen for a rook after already taking everything else, right? So yeah. So what do we do instead? Did we just lose a knight for nothing? No. We want to get the move G6 in. How do we do it? How do we do it? Tell me.
Queen takes pawn on E5.
No, that's what we just said. You can do it because the queen takes. Here, I'll show you. If queen takes, then you go G6, then check. You have to respond to the check. And then, whoopsie, no mate. And if you count the material, I already won your queen for nothing, so I don't care if you take it for a rook. It's a good deal for me. No, 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 can't do it. So knight e5, d takes e5, and now, yes?
Queen c4.
All right, let's try it. If you go queen c4, well, we can't see it because it's not there, wait. If queen c4 here, I'm gonna take it,
Then g6.
then check, rook here, bishop here. No mate, and I'm about to take your stuff, and my next move is taking the pawn, and that's it, no mate. Okay, the final, I'll show you what you guys missed. That after pawn takes, he goes g6. Surprise!
You can just take it.
Now, you can take my queen, you get mated.
Oh.
You can get mated. So you say, well, you gotta take. Now that the d pawn moved from blocking, we moved it here because of the knight sack, we are going to go queen c4 check. What a beautiful combination. Now, you can play bishop d5, but I'll take it. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to block on f7, either with a rook and the queen. That takes away the last escape square from the king. So after rook h8 is correctamundo. So he won. Yay. Now some free play.